Back on Inside Tennessee, let's shift to Super Tuesday. Time to vote.
Thank goodness. We did have early voting. We wrapped up, last week, I guess, on that. And it was disappointing. It was lower than we thought it would be. I think a lot of people think presidential primary and they get very excited. And we had roughly 25,000 people cast early votes. Chris Davis, the Knox County administrator, says you can figure that's 40% of probably what totally will be cast. So you're looking at roughly maybe another 40,000 on Tuesday. So here's my question. Are you all surprised to see that kind of low turnout? And which of you has the sort of least exciting presidential candidate?
Oh,
yes, because neither generated much excitement, apparently.
That's the issue.
And honestly, I think the lower turnout doesn't really surprise me, because I think a lot of people are waiting to see who would drop out after some of the other primaries. We just had the South Carolina primary over the weekend. So, you know, I think you're going to have a lot of people really coming out this week. Again, 40% of the vote in, you know, that's hard to say. It all depends, because you've also got all the county races that are running, some of the school board races that could still generate a lot of excitement that people are just trying to figure out, because we just came off a city election. So let's not forget that.
But this one's interesting, or at least supposed to be.
Well, I think all elections are interesting. It's just whether or not you can get the voters' attention. And don't forget, we had Snowmageddon in the middle of January that kind of stalled a lot of the campaigns.
Campaigns, and fortunately, it didn't affect much of the early voting, but it touched it.
Yeah.
So, well,
I just want to say real quick, 80% roughly of that vote was Republican, 20% was Democrat, but we know Democrats crossed over.
They did, and it's interesting because there, of course, is litigation about the bona fides, and that's going on. And apparently, our show last week may have triggered a little bit of attention about that. But that said, going back to your original question, it doesn't surprise me the Democratic turnout was low. There are more Democrats than that in Knox County, still accepting that a majority of the county is Republican versus Democrat. But when you looked at our ballot, you know, it took me all of about 1 minute, and I would say that an unsophisticated Democratic voter might take 2 or 3 minutes to vote. Very short. We did have candidates in virtually every race, but we did not have a lot of contests within our party, and I think that's healthy for a party. I think, frankly, you know, Eddie's presidential candidate in Trump, he's more controversial, more polarizing. He had a legitimate opponent in Nikki Haley, so it's going to generate more attention. You know, Biden really doesn't have a meaningful opponent. It's just sort of, he's going to be the nominee. We all know that. But it'll get interesting in the general. It's just sad because these primary elections mean so much, and they mean so much to the local communities in order to get the right people.
We'll have another key vote in August where we'll see what happens from the primaries sorted out as we elect some general candidates in Knox County. And we appreciate you watching. Again, of 100 voters, only 9 have cast a ballot. Get out there on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.